Well, we're now well into the workshop here looking at how to put consumers at the heart of design and development of digital public services, and I'm with Philip Cullum, Deputy Chief Executive Consumer Focus, and Liz Cole of Consumer Focus as well. And can you just recap why this is an area of particular interest to Consumer Focus?
Well, we're really interested in the delivery of public services to make sure that they meet the needs of consumers. Too often over the years they've been delivered in a way that meets the needs of the providers rather than the people who are using the services or who aren't using the services but who should be. Of course, that also means bad value for the taxpayer, because what we're seeing is services which are being delivered inefficiently, which aren't offering value for money, because what they're doing is not really meeting the needs of the people that they're there for. So today's event's really important. We've really brought together a really wide range of people, and it's quite an exciting event. So it's a new way of doing things for us.
And Liz, Consumer Focus has already done a really good report in this area. What were your first conclusions from that led into this workshop?
Well, it's a really interesting one, because on the one hand it's quite exciting because you listen to various voices about the potential of the web and social engagement, and you feel like, oh my goodness, there's this amazing opportunity for people to really get involved in designing, delivering services, feeding back. It's a very empowered agenda and you feel really positive. And then you kind of start to look at the reality of where we are and what that actually means for consumers. And there's some very basic issues which I think came up this morning about usability, about access, about are we actually giving people a choice about being online, or are they kind of being forced into it? And then there's all the more technical issues about data sharing, procurement. So you're flipping between this quite excitement about digital services being a big part of the future, and then also feeling this big I think someone described it as an oil tanker earlier, that we're actually doing this within the context of government and public services, and that is going to present huge challenges. But I think we've got the right people in the room today who are best placed really to try and work out
and
I think
everybody is saying this is actually really complicated. It isn't just a matter of advocating more consumer engagement, and I think that's something you've taken on board here by getting the people that are really involved in developing the service.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy for us to say we should engage consumer more, but taking that forward is where it gets really tricky, and I think we're kind of quite humble and happy to stand back and say we maybe don't know the best way to do it, and sort of throw it open to the crowd.
And Philip, what can Consumer Focus help to achieve by these sorts of events, follow through reports and so on? You can make the case, but can you actually do anything?
Well, as Liz says, what it's really about is bringing people together, operating in a really collaborative way, and trying to come up with solutions. Too often, I think, over the years, consumer organisations have been all about pointing out what the problem is, saying it's really terrible, this is bad news for consumers. Well, today is a different way of doing things. It's about trying to find solutions, and rather than just describing the problem, saying, well, together, what do we know about this? What do we know about consumers? What do we know about public services? How can we design the public services that public servants really want to deliver that does meet the needs of the people they're there for?
So you're advocating co-design, collaboration in the design of public services, but you're holding out a hand to government and others and saying, let's collaborate ourselves.
Well, we want to work with the people that are delivering services, that are designing them. Often they're the ones who are close to users, who do have an insight into some of the challenges that it takes to deliver the services, but sometimes they don't get that right. They don't always come at things from the right perspective. So it's really the blend, I think, that we've got today that's so important, of people who are delivering, alternative services, digital services alongside government, people who are studying it as academics or as think tanks, and then consumer advocates like ourselves who can bring it together and focus it on that key question: what can we do to make these work for the service users?